kind of sad. It's one of the last videos I'm going to film in a spooky set, and then I'm going to have to tear it down, so I'm going to go cry now. What is up, film geeks? My name is Trevor. Welcome back to my channel. The spookiest month of the year is coming to an end, but we got a couple more horror videos coming out for you guys, and today I'm ranking all the horror movies from 2021 that I've seen, such movies as Last Night in Soho, Antlers, and the new Paranormal Activity movie that all came out this weekend, unfortunately are not on this list. Haven't had time to go to the theater and check them out yet, but movies like Quiet Place Part 2, even Army of the Dead, the Fear Street trilogy are all going to be on this list. There's about 17 horror movies from this year on this tier list, so I will say 2021 has been one of the best years for horror possibly ever, but let me know down below in the comment section, what is your favorite horror movie of the year? How many horror movies have you seen? And if this is your first video here, make sure to hit that red subscribe button down below for more movie reviews, reactions, and rankings such as these. And with that said, let's get into our tiers. So first up, we have spookiest of them all, meaning the best horror movie of the year, in my opinion, is going to go in this category. Then we have your basic ones from amazing to great to good to meh. Then we have not very spooky. We're going to put the worst horror movie of the year in that tier. So with that said, let's start out with Fear Street Part 3. I'm going to put Fear Street Part 3 in the good tier. Of the three Fear Street movies, I will say this is my least favorite. While I think it's good, the 1666 time period, though we get to learn about all the mythology from the first two movies, it just didn't invest me the way I wanted to. I think that part 2 of like the 1978 one and how it does that later in the film, I think that works really well, but the beginning just never really hooked me. I think it finishes it off greatly and gives us lots of information that we didn't really have. It's a good movie, just not my favorite. Fear Street Part 2, putting that in the amazing tier. This is my favorite of the Fear Street trilogy. I'll link above a Fear Street ranking up there, though you just found out my ranking, but I go more in depth of these movies, and I'll put that video right up above. Fear Street Part 2 is the ultimate slasher movie. It has the ultimate slasher vibe. They're at a camp, and they're following the younger sisters, who this kind of first movie is taking place after. It's a prequel following the younger sisters, and it's like a sleepaway camp vibes. I have not seen sleepaway camp, but they're at this big camp, and there's a killer on a loose. It's very brutal, has very great characters, it's funny, and it's the ultimate slasher movie that I love. I absolutely love Part 2. This is the one I've wanted to go back and rewatch the most of the three. Then we have Willie's Wonderland. This will have a huge cult following for it, and I'm going to put Willie's Wonderland in the good tier. Saw this way back in February when it came out. I rented it on my TV, and this is a weird, wacky Nicolas Cage movie with Geo Parsons, I believe, who's the creator of all this. So Willie's Wonderland is awesome. It's really weird, but it's awesome, and I didn't really count it as a horror movie, but I guess it's kind of a slasher movie because he's killing evil animatronics. And Nicolas Cage doesn't even have one line. It's a weird movie. If you haven't seen Willie's Wonderland, you should check it out. Trust me, it's bad shit crazy. Then we're moving on to Halloween Kills. I'm going to put Halloween Kills, honestly, in the not very spooky category. This is my least favorite horror movie of the year. I know lots of people love it. I just finished it right before filming this video, and it is just not very spooky. So when I said I just finished it, it took me 4 different tries to go and watch this. Well, I think it's filmed brilliantly. It is a very good looking horror film, and it's probably one of the better looking horror films of the year. This is filled with the worst character decisions, and honestly, the character decisions were so bad, it just took you out of the movie, and it made it feel just dumb and pointless, and they're going to continue to go on, and after Halloween ends next year, it's probably going to keep going on. Halloween Kills, I'm not a fan. I'm going to have a October movie ranking coming out in a couple days. This will be on the list. You can find out what my thoughts there are just, yeah, yapers. Then we have Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder's zombie movie, and so I wasn't going to include this on the list, but when I looked it up, Rotten Tomatoes had this on their best horror movies of the year. I'm going to put this in the good tier. It's a fun, cool Army of the Dead zombie movie, and Army of Thieves prequel to this actually just came out a couple days ago. I have a review for that. I'll link it above, but Army of the Dead is a fun, action-packed movie with, I guess, the zombies create the horror aspect, the horror vibe, but I had a lot of fun with it. Zack Snyder's really had a great year for himself, and he's created all these characters, and I believe they're getting a sequel to this called Planet of the Dead in a couple years. Very excited for it. Nothing bad to say about Army of the Dead. Then, A Quiet Place Part 2. Going in spookiest of them all. I absolutely love this movie. It's one of the few movies of this year that I've actually watched multiple times. I watched this opening night in theaters and I fell in love. I saw it again 2 days later in theaters and I fell in love. And I actually watched it again at home. So I've seen this movie 3 times. It's everything and more you want in a sequel, and I might say this is better than the original Quiet Place. I love the prequel aspect in the first 10 minutes. One of the best openings of all time, definitely of the year. And while it's not very horror-esque throughout this movie, the tension is still there, but this one's a lot more action-packed, action-filled. What are they gonna do when they have to actually go out and leave the farm? They meet up with an old friend in Cillian Murphy, a great addition to this franchise and these characters. I want them to stop here, but if they continue to go on, I will continue to watch them. But Quiet Place Part 2 is absolutely fantastic. It's up there for my favorite movie of the year. Then we have Malignant. James Wan, in my opinion, is the master of horror. This is way different than anything and more I was expecting, but it's going in the amazing tier. This one is, not only is it campy and like cheesy, but it is really campy and cheesy, but it really embraces that slasher vibe when I thought it was more of a paranormal type film. James Wan shows he has a range. He can go from like psychological thriller, horror from Saw, then he can go to paranormal route to Conjuring, then he can go to the slasher route, Malignant. The man is an absolute genius. The slasher in this movie, Gabriel, while it had one of the most absurd what the F twists of all time, Malignant is fantastic. It keeps you on the edge of your seat, keeps you engaged, and that jail scene with Gabriel going around killing everyone, whoa, man, just whoa, watch it. Then we have The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. It's going to go in the Met tier. Not a big fan of this one because I love the first two Conjuring movies. They are some of my favorite horror movies of all time. I wanted to love this one. I just really didn't. Don't Breathe 2. You know what? There's going to be two worst horror movies of the year. Don't Breathe 2 is going not very spooky. I didn't even finish this movie. I left the theater 50 minutes, and my girlfriend wasn't feeling it. There's lots going around in the theater. That's a story for another time. But this movie sucked so bad. I had my buddy Chris from Film Stock give me like a spoiler review of everything that happened. I literally predicted it before he told me about it, and it is that bad. It is just, gosh almighty. Then we have Candyman. I'm going to put Candyman in the great tier. Really enjoyed this one, had lots of fun with it. And I have not seen the original Candyman, but this one is shot beautifully, one of the better shot horror movies of the year. It's a great movie, just when I compare it to the other two. I like this one just a little bit less. No knock on it, didn't really have any problems, just I really enjoyed it. Only problem I really had was its ending seemed very abrupt. If they wanted to make a sequel, I'm here for it. It goes crazy, it gives you the heebie-jeebies. It has really great shot selection for some of these kills, especially the one with the apartment. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen it. It's absolutely crazy. Then we're going over to Netflix. There's Someone Inside Your House. I'm going to put this in the good tier. Well, it seems kind of predictable, and at times it is very cheesy. Talk about bad character decisions. I had fun with this one. It seemed to kind of just embrace that high school slasher vibe. Not as good as Fear Street, but I enjoyed Someone Inside Your House. I couldn't really recommend everyone to go and watch it, but if you like slasher movies and you enjoyed the Fear Street movies, I think you can enjoy this one as well. Then we have Spiral from the Book of Saw. I'm going to put Spiral in the great tier. The only problem I really had was that the traps seemed very inescapable, but I thought Chris Rock was great in this, and they better make a sequel for how that ending lifted off, because my goodness, I was all there for it. Spiral, it was really good to get back to like these kind of like more psychological thriller with good twist Saw movies rather than these like Final Destination-esque movies. Anyways, moving on. Escape Room 2 Tournament of Champions. Gonna put this in the good tier. I wasn't going to include this on the list, but that Rotten Tomatoes list had this on there as well. And this is just entertaining movies to me. I just go in for an hour and a half to have a fun, enjoyable time watching a movie, and that's what these two movies have provided, from Escape Room to Escape Room 2 Tournament of Champions. It's tense, it's action-packed, and honestly, I really did enjoy it. Had a good twist from the first movie, and they did a good recap of the first movie, and this one had a good twist at the end with the character from the first. Really enjoyed it, gave me chills. I did not see it coming. I thought it was done really well. Then we got the Forever Purge. The more I thought about it, I'm just going to put this one in the meh tier. Wow. It's an okay movie. Like, I remember my video, I was like, oh, it's surprisingly good. As more if I thought about it and I try to go back and rewatch it, it just doesn't hit as hard for me. I enjoy the Purge movies. This one is just another kind of same old Purge movie. It's action-packed. It's fun. If you're a Purge fan, you'll enjoy it. It's just didn't really do anything out of the ordinary. If I look at those movies in a good tier, I can't put those in there with them. And then finally, we have Fear Street Part 1, 1994, I believe it is. Putting that in the amazing tier. I absolutely loved everything this movie had to offer. I love the multiple slashers. It had the closest thing to a Scream opening besides Scream. Fear Street Part 1 is absolutely fantastic. I love these characters. I love this world. I love what Netflix did with the trilogy inside 3 weeks. Every July, I get in a slasher mood, and this one gave me 3 of my favorite horror movies of the year. Gave me 3 great horror movies in general, and that's going to do it for all 17 of these horror movies that I've seen this year. Again, this is one of the better years for horror, in my opinion. Let me know your favorite horror movie down below in the comment section. How many horror movies have you seen, and what is the best of them all? Come back tomorrow. I'll have a top 10 horror movie ranking of all time. Very excited for that one. Got to get on it soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for more movie reviews, reactions, rankings such as these. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.